Hey everybody, this is Joe. Thank you for watching my Giga-Texas construction update video. Welcome back out to Giga-Texas. It's Wednesday, the 19th of March, 2025. Beautiful day to fly, although it is a little windy, but otherwise some great things to see around the site today. We're going to start off with production of the Cybertrucks, which seems like it is definitely picking up for the last several days, and we can see many of the Cybertrucks, probably about 150, maybe 200 over on the east side, that old testing and calibration lot. And in addition to that, if we move across the highway to the west side, the outbound lot, we can see many more of the Cybertrucks, both on the south part of the outbound lot and also on the north end as well. I'd say there's probably close to 400 the Cybertrucks on both sides today, which is definitely more than we have seen in a while. As far as Model Y production, I am seeing them departing from the outside of the factory near that west main entrance, driving over towards the outbound lot, and they are storing several of them both on the south side near the Cybertrucks and a pretty large number up on the north end as well. So it's something I'll just continue to watch. I'm kind of hoping that we'll see a lot more of those Model Ys being produced, but we are in that last part of ramping up the production. Now, a couple other things that I do want to talk about that is of interest. It's over on the east side at that parking garage. Recently, they have erected some more privacy fences around the 6th floor of that facility. This is in addition to all those privacy fences that have been in place on the ground floor on the east side. Also, if we go up onto the roof and look at some of those ramps that allow the vehicles to get into the parking garage, we can see that they also have privacy fences on those ramps and all of the windows along those ramps as well. So what I think is going on is that we are seeing some additional work with the robo-taxi fleet that's coming up here in Austin, or they could be doing some additional testing of a new vehicle. Either way, it is a new development. It's worth something to continue to watch, and it is all happening over in that parking garage, which has been used for a lot of this kind of activity over the last, say, 6 to 8 months. Another thing on that southeast side of the extension I want to show you is that the glass installation is really coming along on that east side, where the glass line has kind of that funnel effect, and this is the last major part of this extension that needs to be filled in, and they are making a lot of progress with that. Also, another interesting development is over on the west side of the 4680 battery cell production portion of the factory. We continue to see more of these items being delivered. These look like they are production equipment. Some of them have internal roller and racking mount systems, look like they could be automated. Others are some other cabinets that may be part of this production line, and we know that they have continued to do a lot of work inside that part of the factory to bring up the 4680 production. So this is another great sign for that. The last major thing that I want to talk about is over on the west side, near where the houses are. It's been a long time where the border between the Tesla property and the housing hasn't been very well marked. Recently, we've been seeing a lot of berm work along this area, along the entire length of the boundary with the housing, and now we're seeing fencing being put up, and this is going along the entire side of the site by the housing, and also on the south side we have that near clearing. So I think this is an important security measure for Giga-Texas, and we're going to see more of this going up as time goes on. So without further ado, let's get into the drone, let's fly around and see what else is going on here at Giga-Texas. As always, thank you very much for your support. Let's get the drone in the air.
If you would like to support my efforts, please consider using these links, which will be in the video description. If you are interested in Tesla products, you can help yourself and support me by using my referral code. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons on my YouTube video, as this helps as well. Thank you.
My drones are ready and raring to go. Let's go flying over Giga-Texas. we began south of the Colorado River, taking a look at some more of the caisson construction all along this side of the road. Here we are seeing a temporary plate being added on top of this caisson, in addition to some rebar, getting ready to add another ring to sink it down further into the ground. It'll connect underneath the Colorado River to the caisson in the middle of the screen with that yellow crane, and we'll see some of that closer up view later in the video. But here I wanted to show you the west support facility. This is composed of that warehouse on wheels, the end of line, and the outbound lot. Also, this very large material staging yard. We have the steel corrugated pipes, steel beam segments, and other construction materials, some of the concrete vault sections at the middle bottom of the screen. And of course, all of those transformers that are still being stored here. It's also a nice look across this yard over towards the main factory to kind of give you a context of where we are. And this is the very far southwest corner of Giga-Texas's property. In this kind of landscaped section, we see some silt fence. We see some piling of dirt off to the right. That is part of where they're getting dirt from the caisson construction. And we also see some additional work being done here. Next to the housing line, we see that fence that I talked about in the intro, and that is now proceeding around this corner and up to the north. And that will give some more security for this part of Giga-Texas. As we fly back towards the power lines, I'll bring the drone up a little higher. You can see that fence line off to the left. I'll give you a closer view here momentarily. And of course, this material staging yard that has a lot of equipment, some of which is production line equipment that is being moved into the factory. We can see that with the silver wrapped items around where this fence is located, some of the blue and the wood crates on the right-hand side. And all of those brown wrapped items are part of another stamping press that has been prepared for longer-term storage. I had thought that they were going to install those late last year, but right now it looks like they are waiting for the opportune time to install them into the factory. And here's a nice closer view of all of this equipment that is prepared for that longer term storage. I'm going to fly over this material yard. We see some steel items being delivered on those flatbeds. Of course, all of these items that are heading over to the factory for its installation. And as we pass these workshops and some of the superchargers, I wanted to zoom in and show you the fence that is being installed along the entire perimeter of this west side. And this is a dividing line between Giga-Texas's property and all of the housing that is very close to the site. In addition to that, where the grass is, you can see it's bordered on two dirt roads. This continues all along this entire side where it looks like they have some depression for some water management. And right here is where the workers are hard at work putting in more of that fence, and it's proceeding to the north. And you can see all of that dirt on the top of the screen that is going to divide up the site, and that fence line will go all the way along that area. As I turn back towards the main factory, this gives you a good idea of where that fence and the housing is in relation to the west side. Also a nice look at the entire factory itself. Now the outbound lot is pretty busy today, particularly with Cybertrucks. We will see a lot of them on this side of the site and also on the east side. Also, we have a lot of Model Ys, many of which are being picked up by transport trucks. Others are being stored here temporarily for transportation. And as I drop it down, I'll give you a nicer view of all of these Cybertrucks grouped together here. It's really hard to tell what version of the Cybertrucks there are, but the one thing is clear is that the glass roof is definitely a darker material than it was on the Cybertrucks built last year, so that is a change. But as we stay low and fly around here, you can get a good sense of the number of Model Ys, the new ones that have been constructed here. They're no longer making the older version of the Model Ys, so all of these are the new versions. And since it is early in the morning, they're just bringing over the cars from the early morning production, so this lot will continue to fill up. And I did notice that they do have a lot of transport trucks, and they are moving them Model Ys off-site very rapidly. Now on the north side, we do see a large grouping of Model Ys, and this is what they look like today, all variety of different colors. And I'm not sure why they are segregating them up to here. It is possible that these are just either waiting additional processing, or maybe there's another purpose for these Model Ys. But a nice grouping, a large number of the new Model Ys here. And of course, the Cybertrucks are just sort of dominating today with the amount that they have. And we have a large group of Cybertrucks that's called an apocalypse. So we are having a Cybertruck apocalypse today. So here's a nice view across this parking lot in the outbound lot, showing you all of the vehicles, the Cybertrucks and the Model Ys in the main factory behind this view in the distance. So I'm going to fly up towards the north, and we'll take a look at some of the other additional work that is underway. I did mention that they're preparing for fence line along the housing, and you can see how that is progressing on the left-hand side of the screen. And in the middle of the screen, I'll maneuver around and show you this material staging yard that has those two iconic tents that have been here for about 2 years now. And of course, some of the materials within the fenced off section. This area has kind of been cleaned up, and there's less and less materials here than there has been in the past. So I don't know if this is just signaling that they're cleaning up, or if maybe this will be a change in the near future. On this part of the site, you can see some more of the earthwork underway where that fence is being installed along the tree line, moving off to the left. And that will continue throughout this entire area. As we pass over these workshops and some of the steel items, wanted to get a check-in of the Evapco fan units, the base units, some of the pipes and other equipment that would be associated with a chiller plant that these will be part of. I do not know if this is going to be part of that central support campus facility that is under construction on the north end or not. But it is worth watching, and I will continue to try to get updates on that. Of course, more of the steel items being stored here on this part of the material staging yard. A lot of it's being used inside the factory as they add additional mezzanine floors to the existing floors. Here's a look at some of the transport trucks waiting for their turn to pick up some Model Ys, and one of them has a large number of Model Ys getting ready to be delivered. As we cross over the highway, let's take a look at the north end of the factory. Here at the 4680s, we see some of the steel items on the ground and some other equipment that has been delivered for construction inside as they continue to work on the production lines for the 4680s. On the roof, another section that has these bricks on it as they do some additional repair on the seams of this part of the roof. And that has been going on for some time. As I'm going past the wall of the factory, I'll bring the drone down lower, show you all of these cabinets that are being delivered here to the 4680. They've been unpacked and they will be moved into the facility here. And with this view, it's a nice look at what we are seeing as far as the cabinetry. Some of them have those kind of roller or rack mount systems inside. They look like they may be automated, maybe a modular part of a production line. As we continue to fly to the south, this is that new entryway. We see some of those concrete planters, the covered white structure for the bus stop, and then here is a look zoomed in of the new windows and the doorways that have been added into this section. And it looks like there's couple of sets of double doors in this area. Some of the landscaping with some grass on either side of those berms. On this section of the exterior walls, we see where concrete panel and windows have been removed. That is so that they can put equipment inside as they continue to build out more of the production of the Giga-Texas. As I maneuver around to kind of give you a view here, this is where the Model Ys exit the factory for the very first time. There's just one waiting now. There was a large group that had just departed here before I got here with the drone, and that's continuing all day long. This is that old Roadster that is under display here at the west side. And then they've added additional models here next to the Cybertruck with the Model Y trailer that is used for demos around the country. I'm going to continue to fly to the south, and we'll take a look at some developments at the southwest corner. continue to deliver a lot of materials and production line equipment to this part of the factory. Here's another large container that has been lifted up onto the temporary platform. This has been going on for the last several days. A lot of this equipment is being delivered and moved inside. And that could be very well related to what Lars Moravy recently said about the production line being set up for the Cybercab. Could also be for some additional production capability for other products as well. Here's a nice look through this exit point underneath the glass wall and all along this southwest corner as the glass has pretty much been completed along this side of the building with the exception of this one entranceway. The rest of the glass is in the final stages of being assembled and put onto the building on the east side, and we'll see that here momentarily. As I fly around the Cyberpond, there are some developments here on the south end, that terraced section. As I bring the drone back down, we can see some riprap or broken up stone around where the roof drains are located, and that is on this bottom level. We'll see another set of those two parallel riprap sections with that drain pipe and some additional irrigation pipes being installed along the upper level. And there's some more of that drain system that has been added in on this side of the site. As I fly along the southeast corner towards the cooling plant, we can get a nice view of how that work is being done on the ground floor since all the plastic was removed, some of those pipes and manifold systems. And then around the corner, the crews are hard at work adding even more of those glass panels in. This is a nice close-in view from this vantage point of how that looks. And just with the workers gives you a sense of scale. I'll bring the drone up a little bit higher. We'll cross over the power lines. And I wanted to show you what the window line looks like from this perspective. Also, it looks like 3 of the 6 fan units on the cooling unit are operational. One other thing that I did notice underneath where the glass has been installed in the middle level, since it's smaller, like half-size panes, I think that that's going to be another driveway that goes through this section near where the tunnel is and then out on that other exit point that we saw on the other side of the factory. While I'm here, we can see some open containers for the glass and these very large deliveries, some of which in the plastic wrapped items, and then some are the wooden crates. And with kind of the worker on the right-hand side of the screen, you could get a sense of the scale of these deliveries. These are very large items. While we're also here on the east side, I'm going to turn over towards the multi-level parking garage. Wanted to show you that there is some interesting activity and development here today. We've seen the LiDAR-equipped vehicles on the roof, and there's a few of them right now, but they've also put in privacy fencing along the ramp openings, along those kind of small windows along the ramp as well. And you can see the black canvas that has been added along the 6th floor of the multi-level parking garage. This pretty much seals off that entire floor for certain operations that Tesla is doing. And again, it may be related to getting ready for the robotaxi event coming up later this summer, or it could be that they're doing some additional testing for the new models, or it could be some combination of both. But they have been using a lot of this parking garage, not only on the 6th floor now, but on the ground floor where you see those privacy fences to do a lot of some of the development of future products, and some of which we are starting to see around the site with the Cybercabs. And I do know that the Cybercabs have some of their operations within this building as well, as I've seen Cybercabs entering and exiting the parking garage. So anyway, another thing just to keep in mind as we get closer to the summer, where we're expecting a lot of big developments from Tesla around the Austin area. And also with that new product and the new, maybe less expensive vehicles for the rest of the United States market. As we get closer into the temporary lot here, we are seeing many Cybertrucks. And this is in addition to what we saw on the west side outbound lot. And it's kind of hard to count exactly, but I would say that there's probably 100 or more here. And of course, these 2 tents that they're doing testing, most likely for the inductive charging. Also, as I pan the drone up, we get a good look at this temporary platform with some very large steel beams being added in and moved in for some additional construction. On even this part of the factory, they're adding in more mezzanines, more floors, more capability for production, some of which is related to the Cybercab, and some of it is also related to new products coming soon. As we fly towards the north along the east side, good view of the baghouse filtration plant, and as it continues to be assembled and getting ready for operation. Of course, the melt plant is also very busy today, and we can see that the crews are working on the furnace loading system. So I'm going to pull away to the east and we'll reposition the drone to take a look at some other parts of the site. Pan the drone to the north and a little towards the east. You'll see this clearing right in the middle of the screen. That used to be a kind of a refuge recycling center for new vehicles, the bodies that were being recycled, also some other equipment. That all appears to have been cleaned out. So that is a change that I've been monitoring over the last couple of weeks, and I wanted to point that out as we continue to see what's happening on this east side. Another change is directly ahead in the middle of the screen. You can see the kind of steel hoops where there used to be a Quonset hut kind of structure used for some of the workshops. All of that structure material had been taken off, so I don't know if they're getting ready to dismantle that workshop or not. As we get closer to the die shop on the left and the cathode plant on the right, this is where they've been adding in more of the underground water management system, steel corrugated pipes, many of which you can see laid out here in the middle and on the right hand side of the screen. Trench boxes have been removed and most of the trenches have been filled in with dirt, although as I pan the drone down, we can see that there is another section here with the trench boxes, some of the gravel, and it looks like they're getting ready to add more pipe in through this section, perhaps connecting to the existing system right down the middle where you can see those grates, the black kind of stripe lines. I was looking at what some of these deliveries were. It looks like some crates and maybe some silver wrapped robotic assemblers. And then here we see the various tanks and the vaporizers and also some of the heat exchangers and pumps on the roof of the chiller plant. So anyway, this is what this part of the site looks like. I'm going to reposition the drone to a higher altitude. I'll pull away and we can get a glimpse of the construction site in the upper left, but also along the middle of the cathode plant, we see these white stripes. These are some recent work done on some of the seams for the weatherproof membrane. This is similar to what they've been doing on the main factory over the 4680 cell production part of the factory, as they make sure that that weatherproof membrane is correctly applied. As we maneuver to fly over the crash test facility, you can see a lot of the vehicles along the fence line that have been crash tested, also along the side of the Quonset hut crash test facility itself. See additional work being done here on the north end and more vehicles as well. So a lot of activity at the crash test facility going on here at Giga-Texas almost all the time. I'm going to bring the drone up to a higher altitude to give you a view of this far northeast section. We see some of the concrete that's been broken up for recycling, the hill that's being used to temporarily store some of the dirt from the construction site, and of course some of the other large fields with either some equipment or also the rental equipment lot to the farther north. On the bottom right of the screen, all of the equipment, that's stainless steel tank and the bridge cranes, have been moved away. I still have not found out where those went on the site, and that'll be something I continue to watch for, but that is a big development as well. Now, this is a nice higher altitude view of the construction site for the central support facilities. And I'll get you a lot of closer down in views here of the entire site. Now at the bottom we see some more riprap and a small excavation. This is to help with drainage of the site for the moment as they do the construction. I'm going to maneuver the drone back over towards the cathode plant and give you this view from a lower altitude of what it looks like now. And all of this is starting to come together as kind of like a large industrial complex, very different than when that concrete batch plant used to be there. They are preparing what looks to be roads that go around the perimeter of the construction site. And this is also very consistent to the site plan documents that we have talked about before. On the bottom, we see some geotextile membranes being rolled out where the drive paths will be. And then they're putting fill dirt on top of that geotextile membrane. Now I'm going to try to kind of experiment here with a sped up time lapse showing you some more of the work on the rebar cages for the column footings that will be part of the buildings that will be constructed on this site. And with the workers, this gives you a great sense of scale of how large these rebar cages are for the concrete columns. And they are making many of them right now and trying to get ahead of when the excavation will begin for each of these rebar cages. And we will see that on the left-hand side of the screen in this large clearing. There are some augers at work. We've been watching them for the last couple of weeks. They are preparing the ground with some piers that will be where each of these rebar cages are installed. So I'll bring the drone up to a higher altitude and kind of just give you an overall perspective of where those rebar cages are and the large section of construction with that graded area and the roads that kind of go around the construction site as well. And then I'm going to bring the drone back down. We'll fly over the rebar cages and take a look at some of the auger work that is underway to prepare for the column footings. And you can see some of them at work on the right-hand side of the screen next to where all of the cones are dividing up the site. If you look closely at the ground, you'll see groupings of circles, and that is where the augers have been preparing the piers. It's a nice view of that along the center part of the screen and right in the middle. And again, these are made into kind of like square-like pier sections. And then eventually when this is excavated into the squares, we'll see the rebar cages being added in. And I think that they are trying to get all of those done before they start that excavation work. So I'm going to pull up to a higher altitude again, give you a nice bird's eye view of the sections that we have seen, and we'll maneuver around for one more closer in view. So bring the drone down lower, we see the riprap for some of the pond itself, which is part of the water management that they are going to have for this entire site. And as we get lower in, some of the mounds of dirt that have been added in to help with the overall grade work. Now I'm going to pan the drone along the west side because I want to show you this large depression. It will eventually get filled in. Part of the reason why is that the electrical switchyard that you see at the top of the screen is going to be doubled in size. They will double the overall capacity, and it's going to be built right on top of this section. I'm going to bring the drone down lower so you can get kind of a perspective of just how deep this is. It is a significantly deep part of the site that's going to be needed to be filled in to be able to do that construction. Speaking of which, we see some more earthwork here just to the east of the new Megapack site. And on the north end, those 4 rectangular slabs that have been recently completed. Also, a lot of the conduit that is being installed. And it looks like they're also putting conduit along the middle section here where the cable trays are right in the middle between the transformers. And then on either side, those steel beams are where the Megapacks will be installed when this system is ultimately completed. So that will be it for today's video. I'll bring the drone up to a higher altitude just to reveal more of the site. As always, I hope that you enjoyed what we were able to talk about in the intro, despite my audio issues, and throughout the video. Thank you very much for your support. I appreciate it.